Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, um, one of the things that I wanted to talk about here, as far as when it comes to the law of attraction, law of assumption thing here, is that that we all manifest certain things, even when we're like consciously or unconsciously manifest certain things. In a way, there were certain things that I had manifested even back then, you know. And one of the things was like the Simpsons episodes, and this was like way back about pretty much 30 years ago, and that was right when the Simpsons were starting their little syndication run, you know. And back in the day, the Simpsons would have all of the stations that carried it would air the same episode, you know. So regardless of whether if it was like Fox 11 here in LA or Fox 6 in San Diego back then, or Fox 2 in the Bay Area, or what was that other one, like Fox 10 in Phoenix or something like that, you know, they would all air the same episodes. And then it wasn't until maybe about a couple years later where they ditched that sort of thing, and so every station um, that would carry the Simpsons back then would air their own episodes rather than just airing the same episodes regardless. You know, so that was one of the things that I manifested there, and you know, and then I think it was the biggest thing that I had manifested in some ways was, you know, was the downfall of like Lou Pearlman. If anybody remembers like Lou Pearlman back in the day, you know, he was that mogul for like the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and all those boy bands that were popular back then, and as well as like Britney Spears, and you know, and I had like manifested that sort of thing, you know, for him to get his just desserts and all, and especially like what happened to him in the end, you know, where he he got sued by some of those people who, you know, and then at one point where he had fled the country, and there was like, I think he was sentenced to like a couple of years in federal prison because it was some racketeering, money laundering, fraud, and all that, and he ended up dying in prison as far as that goes, you know. And in a way, it was just one of those little things, you know. So, um, the other thing that I also manifested that was quite big was like the whole what's that guy's name? It was Matthew Hale. He was this white supremacist piece of shit, and I had manifested him to get his just desserts at that point, you know, and especially like what happened with him, you know, if anybody remembers the whole story, you know, that one of his followers in this sort of World Church of the Creator thing, and I forget what happened. He was it was like one of those killing sprees because he killed this one basketball coach in I think he coached for DePaul, and this one guy. I think he was this university student from South Korea, and then I think he turned the gun on himself. I don't really remember the exact story because it's been that long ago. And at one point there was another church that was also wanted the name of the church of the creator, or World Church of the Creator, and it was a completely different religion at that point. And then there was a suit there, and then I think Matt Hill ended up getting pissed off about the judge and not ruling in his favor, and he tried to set up a hit against the judge, and then he ends up going to federal prison as far as that goes, for that matter. And it was one of those little things that I had manifested there, and in a way there was a lot of things that we had manifested consciously or unconsciously, and especially when we say things like, oh, like they're going to be back and all that, and then we don't even care and all that either way, and then it's like, and lo and behold, they're back, as far as exes or something. Because then there was this story that I remember reading on back then when there was Yahoo Answers, and where someone said she was like wondering how come why her exes always come back a year after they break up with her for another chance, and when she was clearly had moved on and all that, and it was always seemingly that sort of thing, like why they always come back when we move on, when we don't care about them anymore, and that was like, and it was like that thing that happened with me when it came to that guy Eloy, that I refer to him as the actor, that he tried to get back with me when I clearly have moved on. I don't really need him anymore. In fact, that his time was up already, and I just wanted to move on, and that whole clingy, crazy stalker bit was just me trying to get him out of my life for good, because I don't need somebody in my life that hardly ever paid attention to me, and then finally got paying attention to me when I got 1 foot off the ground, 1 foot out the door, and all that, and it was just something that I just did not need in my life, So, anyways, I guess that's probably it. So, talk to you guys later.